So I'm very excited about this round of mastermind groups. As this is, so I've done these now a handful of times, and each time I try something different, just so that it keeps things alive and fresh. I've done things from book groups, things from how people present, brainstorm. And what I have found is that, and I think this is how this round will go, it's going to be based off of the topics you guys want to discuss. I know that's not a grand revelation here, but I want to make sure that we cover things that you are interested in, and so that people will show up, so that they're relevant. And I also am going to choose topics that are relevant to that week, so that way, like Clean Week, we need to talk about how Clean Week's going. We need to talk about what's working, what's not working. When it comes time for double time to launch, we're going to talk about double time. We're going to talk about how to use that with daily sunshine. And in between, we're going to talk about some of the things that people are struggling with when it comes to motivating their team. How can I become a better leader? To how can I better invite people who stick around long term, and retention and Shakeology. All of these things the topics that we will cover. The only way this will work, and for those watching this on the delayed recording, is if you show up. This will work. I promise to show up and to have stuff to talk about and have what I think will work. But I have found that this works best when people share their ideas and we go back and forth. And it's going to be a great time. So it's going to be just short and quick today. What we're going to do is simply just introduce you guys, have you guys talk about kind of your story, kind of where you're at. And I want you guys to say 2, maybe 3 things. I want you guys to tell us what is working. I did this on yesterday's group, and then a lot of people forgot this step. They jump right to what's not working. But I want you to talk about what's working. Something that is something that's a plus in either your business or your team. And then I want you to talk about maybe an area that could use some improvement, an area that's not working as well as you want. And then you can talk about, and I'll write this down, maybe some topics that you would like to cover so that you can become a better coach. So with that in mind, I'm quickly, Jenna, I'll have you go first, and you just keep on driving, and we'll hear what you have to say here.
Okay, well, hi, I'm Janet. Let's see, you just want to know what's working and what's something that I need to kind of some support or help on. Is that right? Yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so let's see. I guess what's working is I am finding kind of my groove at challengers. I'm 2-star, so I've been doing this about 2 years, and I kind of always every month have a good amount of challengers, new people coming on. I have a fairly good retention rate with Shakeology, and seem to have the groove of people coming on and being discount coaches, and even staying on for a while, having that ongoing relationship and working with them. And I love that part of it. But I guess the thing, obviously, I think it's a struggle for everyone, is finding people that actually want to do what I'm doing, that want to actually work this business. And I feel like I'm not really good at, I feel like I'm not really good at reaching out about it, and I'm not really good at, finding people that would like to do what I like to do, and I love doing this. So it's a great thing. I am, talking every day with new people, and it's kind of a heartbreaking thing because I know this could change so many people's lives, and even friends who have been with me for over a year or two, even maybe some of almost 2 years, and I know it could change their lives to help them. And I feel like no one seems to want to run with me, and I have a small team, but I definitely would love to build my team.
Yeah, and I think that's a universal issue that a lot of people have. So quickly tell me, Janet, tell me a little bit of your story. When did you sign up, and how long did it take before you really started working the business?
I started working from the beginning. I started in August of 2015. For me, it was all about my own health journey. but I thought right away, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to work in a way that I can earn money for my family. I happen to be a single income. I'm married, but single income, so everything falls on me financially. So it was a big thing to start, making money and earning back that money to pay for Shakeology and everything. And I feel like I'm making a good amount every month, but I know the sky's the limit. I know that that's something that could really work. I've hit Success Club every single month since I started, so that's been a steady go. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, I'm excited for what you have to contribute to the call. I think you have some great things that hopefully you can share when it comes to retention, when it comes to signing people up and starting them as challengers. And then definitely we will talk about the conversion rate of how to get people to want to work the business, and maybe some best practices in there and how we can best mentor them and lead them to want to do that as well. So thank you very much. There's only one person left. Crystal, let's have you go.
Well, just FYI, my daughter just came out telling me she had poop, so I might have to go wipe a butt in a minute. But so I'm Crystal. I've been coaching for, it'll be 3.5 years in December. So I feel like, what's going well? I feel like I have an amazing team. I think they're great. We always seem to have a lot of momentum, and they really do well. But I can't get them to duplicate my success. Like all of my diamonds are basically myself, and I have one other person. So I have Jamie, my second business center. Jamie's my husband. And then I have my one coach, Brooke, and they're all stacked on one side. So I just can't get them, I don't know, to just build like a team like I have, and I guess to lead one. Like I feel like they all rely on me to just get stuff done. So I need to work on that a lot for them to step out of their comfort zone and just actually start leading. But I feel like first they need to actually build the team and then start leading it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Right. And you always, by the way, Janet, Crystal's kicking butt this year. She's doing a great job. She won't give herself enough credit for how amazing she's doing. But so Crystal, quickly, what are some of the topics that you would like to discuss on this mastermind call? Ones that you would show up to, whether to add value to or to seek more guidance on?
Maybe. So I think getting coaches started right. I feel like I have a good system, but I would like to see kind of what others do, because I always feel like in the beginning they're so overwhelmed and they don't even know where to start. So maybe if I could simplify things a little bit, maybe they would get off to a better start. And I think just for getting my coaches to bring on more coaches is really, that's what I need. I need for them to be, I feel like some of them feel stuck and they're not making the income that they could be making. So I feel like they get really frustrated, and I know that they can do it, but I know it all comes down to them bringing on a team, because that's how, that's where our residual income comes in. That's where our volume comes in. So I think just trying to figure out how to get my team more coaches and bring in more people. I think. Yeah.
So tell us quickly, kind of same thing with Janet. When did you start, and how long did it take before you really started taking off with your business?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So when did I start? So I started June 2014, and I signed up just to like make a couple $100s a month and be accountable for my own fitness. And I had no idea what coaching was. I really didn't. And I started listening to like all these calls, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can like make an income from this. So once I started listening to those calls and I knew I wouldn't ever have to go back to teaching if I really just jumped in, I was all in. So I was pretty much all in like in the first couple of weeks that I had started.
I love that. And so I think we're going to have a good group. And so obviously, if you're watching this on the recording, we need you. We need your input. I think hopefully you can relate to some of the things that both Janet and Crystal have said, and both on what is working, and if maybe what's working for these two is not working for you, they can add value to you. But if you do have input and comments as well on what's not working for these two, you can add to that. That would be excellent. I do want to mention just a few things here. This morning, Let's see if I can't find it here. This morning we had a meeting with Jeff Hill, and he did an excellent job at kind of tackling some of the issues that you guys are talking about. And he referred to a book called The One Thing. I don't know if you guys have ever read that book or not. It's actually one of his top books. He's read who knows how many books, but this is one of his top books that he has read called The One Thing. And he kept reading quotes from it, and he got us definitely motivated. So let me just talk a little bit about what this is. So the whole book, the basis of the book is there's so many things to do when it comes to building your business, but what's the one thing that's really going to take your business to the next level? And that's what you need to focus on. You know, we have the to-do list. We have the things that grab our attention, whether we seek it out, but most of the time we don't seek it out. It grabs our attention, and it's a laundry list of things to do, but it doesn't necessarily move our business in the right direction. And so this book talks about having something called a success list, where maybe the to-do list, once again, is super long, but the success list is one or two specific things. And that's what we need to focus on. And they're not going to be ones that you can just check off after 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Your success list is going to take a while to check off, but that's what we need to focus on. Let me give you a direct quote from that book. It says, long hours spent checking off a to-do list and ending the day with a full trash can and a clean desk are not virtuous and have nothing to do with success. Instead of a to-do list, you need a success list, a list that is purposefully created around extraordinary results. To-do lists tend to be long, success lists are short. One pulls you in all directions. The other aims you in a specific direction. One is a disorganized directory, and the other is an organized directive. If a list isn't built around success, then that's not where it can take you. If your to-do list contains everything, then it's probably taking you everywhere but where you want to really go. What a great thing. And so, and this is something that we need to focus on in this mastermind group. We need to really hone in on what's the one thing you think you can do that will really get you results. And the answer isn't find more people like me. That's not the answer, because that's not going to happen. You may, every now and then you may find somebody, but it comes down to you. It comes down to your leadership. It comes down to your mentoring. It comes down to your efforts. While a lot of success is based on, like you said, the retention is based on people staying on Shakeology and hopefully running their business. Most of your success will come down to what you're willing to put in and the distance you're willing to go with it. It's the boring, it's the mundane, it's the ugly things that we need to do that will give us the drive to and will give us the success that we're looking for. If I could give you maybe just a little snapshot, I'm going to put together a post here pretty soon. A lot of times we talk about maybe the people that we are working with aren't doing the things we want them to necessarily do to become successful. And if I could give just maybe a silly little analogy with that, when I go to, if I were to go to the doctor with let's say a sprained ankle. I go in and I sit down at the doctor's office. He says, "Hi, yeah, man, I'm sorry that you're here. Here's a prescription. We'll see you next time." And it's a prescription for nasal spray. It has nothing to do with my sprained ankle. And I know that's a silly example. You want the doctor to start asking questions. Well, how come you're here today? What's wrong? What hurts? Let's talk about your past history. Let's talk about what led to this event. And then so that he could properly diagnose me with what will get me get me feeling better. You know, instead of a medication, he'll get me crutches. He'll get me an x-ray or whatever it may be. I feel like sometimes as coaches, we kind of play maybe a little too much. We lean towards the first silly example of we sign somebody up, whether as a customer or coach, and we just say, here's your to-do list. Here's what you need to be doing to become successful. And it's not going to work for them. It may work for somebody who fits that prescription, but that's not who they are. And so we need to, in the same vein, start asking the right questions, start figuring out who these people are, what motivates them, where they want to go, what aspirations do they have. And then by talking and asking questions, we can then prescribe the right thing for them at that time. Now, that may not be what will get them to where they want to go ultimately. For example, they may get SC1 and that's it. That's obviously not where we want them to go, but for them, that's the right prescription at that moment. And that's okay. It's okay that they got that. We need to reward and recognize them and have them feel good about hitting that achievement. And then the next time we talk to them, we continue to ask more questions. So how did it go? Tell me what you thought of when you got that first sale, when you got that first SE point. Congratulations. Let's see, do you feel like you can do more? Let's start asking those questions so that you can give them a new prescription that gets them wanting to do more as well. I feel like sometimes we kind of just say, well, I'm going to sign up as many people as I can. I'm hitting success every single month, and I'm just waiting for people to do it. You're putting too much on yourself. You have control over what you're doing, and you're assuming people are going to take off after that. That's not how it works in this business. There's very few and far between coaches will run with this business. You two may be the exception. I'm sorry to say that. Maybe you guys are in the minority here. Most people, they need that guidance. And that's why we call you coach. That's why you have that title, is because you can take people where they are and work with them to get them where they want to go. It's not a prescription one-time thing. It's an over and over and over. And each time they become better and better to the point where they are doing great. Maybe just another personal example. My son, who's now 11, started playing piano. He started doing piano lessons. I don't know if you guys have kids old enough to do piano lessons or not, but he started doing piano lessons at 8. And the songs that the teachers would give him were extremely simple songs, obviously. And I remember sitting down with him and trying to help him throughout the week. And he would just stop and he'd get so frustrated and he'd cry because he couldn't figure it out. And but because he practiced over and over and over. I was listening to him just the other day, and he's playing these full-on songs and doing such a great job. It's taking him time, but because the teacher worked with him, because we work with him at home, and he practices over and over, he's to the point now where he looks back on those first songs and laughs at them. That's where we need to be with our coaches. It's going to take time. The Compound Effect, one of my favorite books. The quote in here that says, what they don't realize is that these small, seemingly insignificant steps completed consistently over time will create a radical difference. That's what we need to be focused on. Those are the things we need to be working on with our coaches, not these extreme, crazy high SC numbers. It's just with the small, insignificant steps completed consistently over time. That's what we need to focus on with our coaches. I'll give you one last example. I know I'm talking way too much here. I'll give you one last example that draws out the same principle that I'm trying to draw. This is the third example of what I'm trying to draw out here. At Super Saturday, I was in Toledo, Ohio, and it just so happens that Shalene was there. She was visiting Janelle. And on a not Super Saturday reason, she was coming to watch her son play football. And it just happened to be Super Saturday weekend. And so Janelle said, hey, Shalene, sis, would you mind get on stage? And of course she said yes. And one of the things that she said on stage, which I really, really enjoyed, and she prefaced it by saying, I hope corporate doesn't get mad at me. And I'm like shrieking in my seat. She didn't know I was there. She said that, she goes, well, think about track and field, high school track and field. If whether you participated, hopefully you understand how it works. She says, let's talk about the 100-meter dash. So this is the fastest race. This is you sprint as fast as you can, as hard as you can. And she goes, what happens when you cross the finish line? And so we're all thinking like, she goes, you're out of breath. You bend over, you might pass out or puke or whatever. She says, you're exhausted. And there's no way you can do that race in that same time back to back. She says, she goes, you need to almost approach this business like a marathon. Like where you push yourself, but it's at a pace that gets you can do over and over again, and you can duplicate over and over again, mile after mile after mile. It pushes you. I'm not saying, casually just start strolling. No, you want to win that marathon, but it's at a pace that you can do. It's not at this crazy fast sprint. And a lot of times we ask, whether you do or we do, ask coaches to sprint during a week or a month or whatever. It's not duplicatable. It's not. And so we need to figure out when we're working with coaches, maybe not expect them to do these crazy things, but to ask them and figure out what they can do outside their comfort zone that pushes them, but they can do month over month over month. And that's what's going to give us long-term results. The whole basis of this book is time. And he says it time and time again. Says if you find something that guarantees you a lot of success or cash in a very short amount of time, get out. He said that's not what long-lasting residual income or success looks like. And so while we're going to talk on this mastermind group, while we're going to talk about best practices and how to motivate people and how to get them to want to do this, it's all right. It's all right. We don't need to be frustrated. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. We got things to do. We got goals to hit, visions to accomplish, and they're going to happen. But let's do it the right way. Too many people are in the rebuilding phase because they didn't build correctly the first time around. Let's not let that happen to you guys. I want you guys to be building correctly now, so that come January 1st, 2018, you're a strong, solid business, and from there on, you never have to look back at this. That's what I would define success as. Not necessarily earning these fun things that we throw out at you guys. And I know I hope I don't get in trouble by saying that, but I'm giving you permission for that to be okay. So any thoughts from you guys on this? Maybe I'm talking too much. No? Janet? No? Okay. So we're going to call it then. Let's call this a quick half-hour mastermind group. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'm very much looking forward to your guys' input, and I think this will be very successful. Once again, for those watching on the recording, please show up. This will only work if you show up. This can't be a Kevin Shaw show. So thank you for you two jumping on. Very appreciated. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. So it's not a weekly thing. It's every 2 weeks. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Kevin. Guys.